intro? The
Cheers,
behind the
Stu.
scenes. Oh,
Yeah.
you're both
Cheers.
doing it?
Cheers. Here. This is what I'm getting.
It's gonna keep us on task. If we go over an hour, then the
How many-
quality's gonna really drop off.
We're
This
always
one's
on task.
This one's 10 milligrams right
10?
here. Yeah, where is it? There we go.
That's you. You're gonna
Good night.
You're gonna go to sleep again. Yeah, geez. That
God, I
is
hope-
spooky.
God, I hope so. Yeah, that's what's spooky about it. Just puts you in your nightmares.
Oh, geez.
All right.
Just passed out by the time Amber gets home.
No, she's home.
that's good.
Yeah.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. Yeah, what are we
Cheers.
drinking? I got some Hibiki whiskey in the Bryden and Barton glass.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Oh, very cool.
One of the better dressed weddings I was at, for sure. I'm drinking Flanagan's Scotch. This is an all Scotch. There's water in there too. That'd be the biggest glass of Scotch. Dude.
Hey, we got some serious shit to talk about on this podcast, right? We're getting in it.
Just taking a 10 milligram edible and a flask of Scotch right to your neck before the podcast.
That's just
We
like
really
your
gotta.
opinion, man.
My takes are gonna get really hot in the end.
I know.
Really hot.
We're gonna get to see you get blood red mad, but also blood red sleepy.
No, this won't put me to sleep. It makes my brain dance.
Dance, monkey, dance.
Yeah.
Wait, what are
I'm
you drinking?
drinking Stella.
Oh,
Oh,
Stella.
he's trying to keep
anticlimactic.
his
Little
wits about him.
anticlimactic.
He's trying to keep his wits about him to just
Oh,
defend himself.
It's 3:45, guys. What are we
You
doing?
just took an
here?
edible. Didn't you just take a freaking edible? You're all over the place.
Oh, yeah, my work day's over.
3:45.
I got
Yeah, no.
orange chicken leftovers. I don't have to do anything except for record this, post it on YouTube where anybody can watch it, and then watch football.
You're watching football for sure, huh?
Oh yeah.
Nice. All right, Colin,
Yeah.
you sent his doc, right? Through the emails?
Yeah, man.
All right, let me find
Yeah,
it.
Weaver, how about
Every-
you share your weekend with us?
Every week, Stu's like, "What
We got-
document? Where
We
is
got
it?"
we got boomers together.
How does document sharing work?
Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Do I have to save my own copy? Let's see. Week's been good. Last weekend was one of productivity because we knew that Ashley would be going down to her parents, to her dad's house all week. So we did just like a bunch of stuff around the house, big clean. I think she's been feeling like an absentee partner. So like she went grocery shopping even though she was leaving, which was like super sweet. Love her to death. Yeah. And then that was kind of it. We just like played board games. She's really into Settlers of Catan right now, which has been so fun. We watched just whatever show. We're like suffering through Outlander right now. What started as fun is really just not that good anymore. But when you drink whiskey with it, it gets a lot better. And then yeah, football Sunday was lovely because I just got blown out. So I took my edible super early, and I just had to get lambasted all day long.
I was going hard at you on Thursday. I apologize to you, but I'm sorry if I offended anyone else in the chat for how hard I was going at Weaver.
Yeah, that was intense. It's just like, you're getting blood red mad over Logan Thomas? What are we doing here?
Drop candidate.
He unfortunately is not. I must keep him, but he has no trade value, it seems. So there's a dearth of talent. We're dearth of talent. There is dearth of talent.
You already stoned? What's happening?
When you stuck on repeat. That wasn't.
I'm using it in all the way. Come on, guys. Dearth of talent. That's like one of our. This is one of our league inside jokes. We don't know how to use it. We don't have no idea how to use the word dearth. The talent is dearth here.
on this podcast
We're
so far,
confused
definitely.
now.
How's your weekend, Stu?
Because my weekends are they're pretty much, very jam-packed with like babysitting. I kind of wanted to get back into that one comment that I had that I joked about podcasting about, but you guys know how my brain works. So basically, I go to my lesson a few weeks back, and this girl, I guess she's probably like 9. I go, how are you doing today? She's like, oh, I'm not doing so good, Mr. Stewart. And I was like, well, what happened? And she's like, oh, this kid called my mom lame. And so you know where my brain goes immediately. What do you think that is?
I have 3 different directions. The first one was your mom is lame, or your mom's hot, or
my brain goes to, how does this other boy know that her mom is so lame? That's where my brain goes. I'm like, what kind of connection does this boy have with her mom, right? So there's a few options I started figuring. One is his parents don't like her mom, so they were talking shit about her and calling her lame, and then the little boy regurgitated it. Or they went on a field trip or something and the mom was super lame, and all that applies still. But the other part of it is, why does she care so much if this boy thinks that her mom is lame, right? I think she has a hyper crush on him, because then she went on to say, he's the tallest, most athletic boy in the class. He runs the fastest, and he's also the meanest. I'm like, this sounds like the perfect fantasy novel romance character for young women everywhere. And anyway, that's kind of where my mind goes with that. To be clear, her mom is super lame. I just want to throw that out there. To be clear, her mom is very lame. But those kinds of like weird, normal day-to-day interactions always make my brain go crazy thinking about all the weird shit that goes on to make a little person lament the fact that some rando called her mom lame.
How'd you coach her up? What was your advice?
I guess my advice, gosh, I was too busy thinking about all the other stuff now. I think my advice, to kind of put it in a nutshell, was like, if these people's opinions don't matter to you, that like kind of judging whose opinions you're taking seriously and whose opinions you're kind of dismissing. I guess that's kind of my takeaway. But if she's in love with this boy, that's brutal. They'll never have a happy family if he doesn't
want to be like, it's okay, little Sally. What you can do is just get really good at the guitar, continue to take lessons with me, pay me extra for more lessons, and then you'll show him.
Yeah. Then you can have like one of those teen movie moments where you like freaking rock out on the stage at the end and everyone's like, oh man, she's way cooler than I thought.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, that was not my weekend, but that's what I've been thinking about for 2 weeks now. So there you go.
It's about to be a 4-hour pod.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about forever. Anyway,
I talk about your actual weekend?
I cede my time.
All right, good. Yeah. My weekend. God damn it. Now I got stew brain. My weekend was jam-packed. Friday, got up very early, went to Universal Studios, took the day off, smuggled in some vodka, went on all the rides. We did Ride of the Hippogriff, which wasn't available last time, which is in Harry Potter Land, of course. Did the Hogwarts Castle ride twice, which is a really fun one. Super Nintendo World is... You don't like that one?
Oh, dude, I got so sick on the
you definitely
Hogwarts
are like
Castle ride.
thrown around a lot, but that's what makes it fun.
No, I got motion sick. 2 of the 3 of us that went got motion sick, and we had to leave an hour later because we were just so fucked up by that ride. It was so sad. But the Hippogriff ride was fun.
What? Yeah, the roller coaster for like lame 9-year-olds. Went to Super Mario World. They also have a ride, which is pretty fun. We had to wait in line for a long time.
Wait, I have a question. What is a hippogriff?
It's a hippogriff.
Yeah, what's a hippogriff?
Half-
Is that like a? It's like
half
a.
horse, half eagle.
Oh, it's like a lame griffin or a cooler Pegasus.
I think it's like a griffin. It's a
Okay,
griffin.
it's like a much lamer griffin, right? Okay, just wanted to verify.
I don't think it's a
Probably
horse. I think it is a griffin. I think a hippogriff is a griffin.
I don't think a hippogriff is a griffin. I think a hippogriff from it sounds like what Weaver said. I'll look it up real quick.
Look it up. Buckbeak.
It was part hippo, part no, I'm just kidding. It's
Google says
it's part horse, it's part horse in the front of a bird, back of a horse, front of a bird.
Oh, it literally is in front of a horse.
get
No,
fucked.
the back of a horse, front of a bird.
Hippogriff. Okay, so it has back horse.
But you can't see that. See, it looks kind of like that.
I thought it
Get
had
fucked,
I thought it had claws on the front.
It does,
What's the
and
difference?
it would get messed up by a real griffin or a manticore
Okay, so
or
it's got
a dragon.
okay, it's got the butt of a horse, but the front. Okay, now I see. I
Keep
thought
saying
it was
butt.
it's got the butt of a horse.
Yeah.
How do you think a hippogriff wears pants? Does it wear it on the back part, or is it four pants?
Just right on the midsection.
Yeah.
Wears it very adorably. I think that would be adorbs. I would love to see that.
Anyway, that ride's for
Like a
children.
dog.
We went to Super Mario World. They have a like 3D ride where you put on these like virtual glasses and you basically are playing Mario Kart. It's like real size Mario Kart where they slap you in a car of 4 people and you wear this visor and then you have a controls that you can shoot shells and other stuff and you actually can like look around and there's obviously people driving around you, but there's also stuff like above you that you can shoot at and your aim is where your eyes are. So you can like shoot up here, you can shoot over there, you can shoot over there. So that was pretty fun. Although Chelsea and I failed to reach the objective of 100 gold coins. So that was disappointing. And I was like, well, I'm not going to fucking wait in line again to do that. Anyway.
Sorry for your loss.
Did the
Makes
classic
sense.
mummy ride, Jurassic Park ride. It was very hot. It was like 94 degrees. So sweating, getting a lot of steps in, going up and down those escalators, stairs too. Saw the Waterworld live show, always a good time.
Classic,
Anyway,
yeah.
that night we camped at Lake Passaic, which is in like that portion of the county, which turns out to just be like a crazy like car camping place. So we got up Saturday morning. This is actually, side note, after buying the Oogie Boogie expansion pack for Villainous, because we had forgot to bring any board games until Friday night. We went to Target to be like, what do they got? Saw Oogie Boogie, purchased it. Definitely a money grab. It's like a single character expansion now, so you have to actually buy other things to play it. Came to Lake Passaic, played around at disc golf and one of the easiest courses ever. In Santa Clarita, I went 10 down, but most of the holes were like under 250 feet. Then we decided to bail on camping at this car camping, like glamping place. We're going to do a staycation in Carlsbad. So we drove south, saw a beautiful sunset in San Clemente, made a hotel reservation through Chase Points in Carlsbad. So for free, while watching the sunset, got called by some Chase rep saying your reservation didn't go through because they didn't have the room, but I can get on the phone with the hotel and change it. And I was like, okay, as long as I don't have to pay anymore to just do that. He calls back. He's like, right, everything's taken care of. And I was like, okay, same price, which is free. I use points. He's like, yeah, sure. Get to the hotel. They ask for my credit card. Chelsea is like, why are we paying? This guy's like, I was told to charge you. This whole debacle. So we ended up not staying in Carlsbad because this whole thing was fucked. So we just drove home, spent the next 3 hours, tried to recoup my spent credit card points.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Damn.
complete baloney. And then, but got a place in Villainous. Chelsea beat me with Oogie Boogie in one of like the longest one-on-one games ever. It took like 2 hours.
Good Lord.
And then I watched all the football on Sunday. And that was my weekend.
That's
Nice.
lovely. Why do you think that game took so long? One of my beefs with Villainous and the newer characters is so many of them, when fated, get like sent back to square one. I'm curious if Oogie Boogie was the same way.
Yeah, that's why. And that's what Chelsea's feedback was, is that I think it'd be easier in a larger game because you're going to be targeted every other turn or every turn with the fate. I was playing Lotso, and same thing. I would like get close and I get faded and I'd like redo everything. And eventually I just like gave up. Basically, I was like, this is like, and we're like hitting the vape and like drinking a little wine, is on this fucking phone call with support for Chase, and they were just
So
like
ridiculous.
not helpful. And so yeah, eventually like I just want to go to bed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brutal.
But
Sorry,
she won.
bud.
She got the win. All right. We're moving on to an atonement segment. Now, this is going to be fun for the whole family. Just to review, O'Malley and I bet on each other's teams to win. I won, so I had to do a shotgun, which will be repaid this upcoming weekend. Weaver has a few debts to be paid that he is about to do, but a little preview for this upcoming weekend is Evan and I are doing that same old disc golf shotgun bet. So the loser of our matchup has to shotgun a beer on the tee pad before driving.
That's fun.
And as always, I encourage you all to make some bets and post it.
Like that. Good job, Colin.
Yeah.
Good on you, bud.
Good on you, bud. Okay, yeah. I don't know why. I should have like looked at my team before making all these bets last week. Don't ever say that I wasn't susceptible to peer pressure.
Don't put this on peer pressure, dude. Don't say I peer pressured you into this. No way.
I peer pressured myself.
Yeah. Thank you.
And so, yeah, my bets are many. I went on a run. So to recap, I owe Stu a 5K run, and I'm about to read something really scandalous. Stu actually set the mood for it with his ritual background. Thank you there. And then I'm going to start with Colin because I don't want to get all like turned up with this reading. and then talk about
we'll
Colin.
have to hide our boners for
How
sure.
about you flip a coin? Huh? Let's leave this up to because that would be funny.
I flipped it and telling Colin's story comes up first. So Colin, like there are so many like fun things that we've done in our life, especially having lived together. And I wanted to kind of highlight, especially with Stu here, I kind of wanted to highlight a couple things. Like one very fun memory that I have that I wish I took more advantage of was back when we were living at the Fortress. You two would go out to karaoke every Tuesday night. That was like your shtick. Mm-hmm. And I was always just like, yeah, I'll come. Someday I'll come. And just never did. And like, that's something that I look back on like, fuck, like that would have been so much fun. Like, why didn't I do that? But that's not the story I'm kind of going to tell here, or I guess the memory. One of the memories that I really think fondly of is living in the U. And for those of you who don't remember, Colin used to coach Black Tide. And part of Colin's ritual for that was to come home after practice and decompress a little bit. And so that usually incorporated getting a little fire going, opening a bottle of wine. And more often than not, Stu was also there and be watching like some basketball game replays, highlights, usually just a show. But that was always a very fond memory of mine, and living together was like just that aura that you brought to the U. And it was always just like this awesome space of like, no matter what was going on, like you could always just go sit by the fireside, drink a little with you, and like decompress at the end of a Tuesday or Thursday night. And that's something that I really treasured when living at the U. So that's something that I wanted to remind everybody and share about.
Oh,
Kudos.
Cheers to that. To the you.
Mhm.
That was
Many good memories.
Yeah, very nice memory. Did you know? I'm sure you do. They have the fireplace blocked now.
I do know that, and I think it's
They
the
block it with a
biggest.
couch.
They blocked it with a couch.
Animals.
It really
Animals.
is perplexing. It's lame.
It's just
Bring that back.
confounding. Why would you take an asset and just throw it away?
Is that where your
Like it's
sister
not
lives,
even there.
Weaver?
Yeah.
No, you need to have a serious talk with her. It sounds like who she's
She's a
associating
strong-
herself with.
She's a strong, independent woman, and she's not going to listen to a damn thing that I have to say.
That's fair.
Especially because there's 6 of them in there.
Sounds like it might go against their lease.
Old Fred doesn't care as long as they're paying their rent.
Speaking
Don't park in
about
that little spot.
strong, independent women.
No, where's this going?
Oh, yes. All right. So that was a great segue into my second bet that I lost against Stu's semi-historic performance. I am going to read you all a section from the critically acclaimed series, Court of Rose and Thorns. So buckle up, gents. Mentioned this last pod about how Ashley's been getting into it. So thankfully, Amber is an expert on the series and selected.
Amber loves it.
She selected
this
scene. So
there's poetry in motion. So just get ready for it.
And just contain yourselves, gents. All right. She reached for the top of his pants, the bulge already pressing through. Please, she said again, and met his stare. From where she knelt between Cassian's legs, he towered over her, but the edge in his eyes softened almost imperceptibly before he nodded. He reached to help her with the buttons and stays, but she lightly laid a hand atop his. Her fingers were steady, sure, as she unfastened his pants, her head wholly clear. The muscles in his thighs shifted against her as she pulled him free and nearly gasped. His cock was enormous. Beautiful and hard, and absolutely enormous. Her mouth dried out. Every plan she'd had requiring sudden reassessment. There was no way he'd fit entirely in her mouth. Perhaps no way he'd even fit in her body. But she sure as hell wanted to try. Her fingers shook a little as she stroked them down the thick, long shaft. I gotta turn around. I can't look at you. The skin was so soft, softer than silk or velvet, and he was hard as steel beneath. He shuddered, and she lifted her eyes to find his gaze fixed on her hand. How do you like it? She asked. Oh.
Dude, this is so good. Weaver's already trying to conceal his boner.
How do you like it? She asked, her voice breathy. How do you like it? She asked, her voice breathy, as hot need washed through her. She wrapped her hand around his cock, her fingers barely able to reach around him completely. Gentle? She made a feather-soft pass over him, squeezing lightly. Cassian shook his head as if beyond words. She stroked him again, slightly harder. Like this? His chest heaved, his teeth shining as he gritted them, but he shook his head. Nesta smiled, and when she pumped him a third time, she squeezed hard, letting her nails graze the sensitive underside of his shaft. His hips arced off the chair, and she pinned a hand to them. I see, she murmured, and did it again. Harder still, twisting her fist as she reached the round head. He tried to arch into her hand, but she pinned him again with that other hand. And this, she purred, head lowering. Do you like this? Nesta licked across his broad head, tongue sliding into the small slit across its tip. She licked the small bead of moisture already gathered there.
Dude, I'm sweating.
Everything.
So much.
You can tell me when to stop. All right.
No, keep going. Don't stop. Don't stop.
We continue. Nesta lit. Oh, all right. Everything in her body turned molten. A surge of wetness slipped between her thighs as the taste of him filled her mouth. Salt and something more. Something vital. Oh, gods, Cassian panted, and the words, the groan they were born on, were so delicious that Nesta sucked his tip into her mouth and grazed her tongue along its underside. He leaned his head back against the chair, hissing. She licked up his shaft in one long motion, rubbed her thighs together as she tasted him, felt all that hot, proud steel against her mouth. She licked down the other side, coating him, making it easier for herself as she put her mouth around him again and slid him between her lips. He filled her almost immediately. She glanced down to discover there was enough of him still exposed that she needed to add her hand. Nesta, he pleaded, and she made another pass at him, pulling him out nearly all the way before swallowing him again, letting her throat relax, desperate for as much of him in her mouth as could fit. Cassian's hand speared into her hair, gripping, and she realized he was holding himself back. She didn't want to ram himself into her, hurt her, or displease her. And that wouldn't do. Not at all. She wanted him undone, wanted him grabbing her head and fucking her mouth as hard as she wished. So when Nesta took him into her mouth again, hand working in unison, she dragged her teeth, lightly enough to hurt, just a bit. Cassian bucked, and she let him, swallowing him down greedily, squeezing him with her hand enough to tell him she wanted this, wanted him to let himself go. She withdrew her lips to the tip of him, rolling her tongue around him, and gazed at him from under her lashes. His eyes were on her, wide and glazed with lust, and when Cassian met her stare, beheld her looking up at him, he unleashed himself. Whew. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. This is the first time I've read out loud in probably 3 decades.
No, we appreciate that, Weaver. Thank you. Thank you for recreating your trade talks with Adam. That was really kind of you.
All right. The next part of this bed is that I have to run a 5K. I ran 3.2 miles the other day, had a blistering 7-minute 20 pace. It felt awful.
That is a blistering pace.
I know.
Mine's not even close to that right now.
I was just in that moment. Well, yeah, I was just trying to see what I could do because I had like been on a couple jogs with Ashley, and she's a bit slower, and so those go by. Like running slowly intentionally is kind of hard, so I wanted to see what I could do.
And in that moment, he wanted to see what he could do. His partner had been a bit slow, but today he would not be stopped.
Nice.
So I'll download the app and post my run again, but I can do it, so that's fun.
Yay! So, week 5 review, very briefly, as asked about from the people. We can do this very, very quickly.
I would like to focus on the storylines, the storylines of the week rather than like numbers and names. But go ahead, continue, Cole.
Numbers and names. I like that, dude.
What was Curtis saying? It was like it's not always the X's and O's, it's the Bobs and the Joes.
That sounds like something Kurt would say. Absolutely.
It was just like, it's like it's the guys within the jersey, it's not just a strategy.
Just
It's the
one,
biggest
just
people-
one bad day.
That's
Not a
so
piece of
fucking
meat.
funny. Dude, Kurt has such good sayings. Like, for instance, every throw is a new day. You guys remember that one? Every throw is a new day. So, like, if you like turf a flick or something,
I bet you really liked that saying.
every throw is a new day. What are you
Got
insinuating?
him. Got him. Oh,
Got him. Did you hear that one a lot? Because I had never heard that phrase from Kurt before, personally.
Biggest blowout of the week by 131.46 points.
great timing.
Stu over Weaver. Yeah, let's look at this matchup. This is a fun one. Stu
man.
doesn't make history, so no one's gonna remember this. But
Dude,
um,
horse collar tackle away from making history.
Yeah, that's the storyline of this matchup. Moving on.
one thing that comes to my mind is after the hullabaloo about Logan Thomas being sit. Laporta still put up more points than him.
Yeah.
So I know there was a lot of back and forth banter. I was also participating because I thought it was so fucking funny. Slash not because I tinkered Dotson into my lineup and he just non-existent. But I did want to call attention to, like, you still started the right tight end.
Yeah, Pickens was the only guy that I didn't start that had a better day than like one guy or two guys on my roster.
Does it also get the squeaky wheel? Jamar Chase has his blow-up game, making up for his, tiny pittance that he's been doing the rest of the week, corresponding with Joe Burrow's coming out party, which, we'll touch on that a little later, of course.
Coming out party, huh?
Yeah, coming out party. He's been injured. He's been middling. Okay. People are like, what do we do with this guy? Now he's back to Sleepy Joe. One of the many Sleepy Joes.
Well, I mean, it started off with Justin Fields just absolutely going off for sure. I was at a gig, so I didn't get to watch it, but it was funny. Sean posted the before and after photo of the game where I was like, oh,
yes,
yeah. I thought that was perfect. There's nothing more that needs to be said. That was perfect. Exactly how I felt. So kudos.
I do want to call attention to Weaver's savvy acquisition of Jalen Hurts, 27 points, rushing touchdown, 303 passing yards. That player will do him well in coming matchups. You guys have any commentary on this one?
I felt bad because I was like going hard about stupid Logan Thomas, and I saw that Aaron Jones was likely going to be out, and I realized that he didn't really have like another person to put in that spot. So I was asking him if he was going to punt the week, because you could drop someone and pick up a random guy and hope to at least get a few more points or whatever. But it turned out it didn't even really matter in the end. It was just such a blowout. But I thought it was a savvy move to not drop anyone, just take the L, move on, keep your roster, have faith in it down the road.
He's got Cam Akers, the guy who's stealing half of the work in Minnesota. He could have plugged in there.
Yeah, well, that game was the night game, and he was actually, I don't know where you saw that he wasn't going to play. He practiced all week. It's like it was a surprise that I took.
It was Amon-Ra St. Brown I was thinking about. Not that's what happened to me in my other league too, though. I didn't realize that he was going to be out, and then it was actually I actually lost like a razor thin game because of that. I was pretty butthurt, but I think that's why it was top of mind for me. But yeah, it was Amon-Ra St. Brown was going to play, and I was like, is he going to pick up another wide receiver?
Yeah, it was by apocalypse for me. I'm ready to move on from this week.
Yeah,
thankfully
you'll be fine.
You love to have your bipocalypse happen on a week where your opponent puts up 200 points, because it doesn't 100%. Nothing you did mattered, versus like if you would put up 89, then I would be like, fuck, why didn't I do more?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
What matchup should we visit next?
storyline from the Pebbles versus Bill matchup. So this one was close. They were basically Bush Point duking it out for the entire weekend, and it all came down to the Niner game where Pebbles had an 18-point lead, and Jake Moody going against Christian McCaffrey. And this game was George Kittle's like coming out game for the season. Otherwise, Christian McCaffrey put up a pedestrian 12 points. It's not what you expect out of him, right? So that was pretty wild. And I was texting Pebbles on the side, and he was all stressed out about it. And I'm sure Bill was stressing about it too. I mean, he wasn't complaining about CMC getting touchdowns, so maybe he wasn't even watching. But that was a fun storyline for this matchup. It was super close, and if that game wasn't such a blowout, Bill would have won.
Yeah, it was a bummer. And not to mention the New Orleans defense was shocking. That putting up 24 points and just completely routing New England on the road was a wild score.
Yeah,
truly.
Yeah.
And that's why Pebbles drafted them, because they're the quarterbacks that they're facing for the first half of the season have been just jokes. They had Tannehill, Bryce Young, Jordan Love, who's been better than most, Baker, and then Mac Jones. That's why he drafted him for those first 5 weeks.
Nostra Peebly. That was
He also had the completely legitimate Sam Howell play upon further review. That was something I definitely like. Sunday was sitting on the couch like, how the fuck is this possible? And I was doing a deep dive into the waiver and free agent pickup rules.
Yeah, can you quickly expand on why is that okay? It's because if it's in the same day, they remain a free agent?
If an owner picks up and drops a player in the same day, they're a free agent.
Okay.
Which I think it actually does connect to someone postulated, so there's not like churning of players.
Yeah, that's Evan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Network.
So, yeah, the network was correct. They're always watching. Pebbles gets the win. Next matchup. Bacon and Scott. Bacon puts up 143.
God, he is a juggernaut
real quick.
now.
He's in first place. Yeah.
Real quick before you move on, like this whole time you keep bringing this like rule up, and it reminded me of that meme of just like holding the pistol up. Fuck. Just like, am I the only one around here who cares about this rule? Like you're that meme.
Oh, you're talking about the Big Lebowski,
Big Lebowski meme.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's great, dude.
Yeah.
I went deep. I was just sitting by myself watching football on Sunday. I went through every single transaction we've made this year, which there are like hundreds. And there are actually some other cases of this happening where someone picks somebody up and drops somebody. So it wasn't the only time. So that kind of because at first I was like, how the hell is this possible, right? But it wasn't the only time. And then I found that clause. So completely legitimate.
Who do you guys think is the biggest stickler for rules in the league?
What like
the person who is most like, these are the rules and we are following it by the letter of the law. There's no wiggle room. The biggest stickler for I think probably O'Malley is the biggest stickler for
O'Malley comes to mind. Yeah.
I was gonna say Evan.
Top two.
I think Evan is more chillaxed about it than you'd think.
But yeah, there's no wiggle room in fantasy. It's just all like run by we can't like get around things.
So one final question I was thinking, because there was kind of a gray area with the IR slot, right? How would you feel about someone keeping a questionable guy in their IR slot for a very long extended period of time and just not making moves? Do you think that's fair because they've hamstrung themselves, or do you think it's unfair because they have an extra bench spot to see what happens?
I think it's fair because they're hamstringing themselves. granted, it does go against the rule of it. Goes against the spirit of the rule. But
Yeah.
I think if you're willing to sacrifice no waiver wire moves, so be it. And actually, I think that you're still able to like move players around in Yahoo, but on the Sleeper app, if you have an ineligible player in your IR slot, they don't allow you to do any roster management at all.
Oh, interesting.
So they've taken that rule into their own hands.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I'm not using the Sleeper app then.
Yeah. I do like that flexibility because I think it's a little savvy, right? Like if I was smart, I would have left Aaron Jones in that slot for an extra week instead of playing him.
Totally.
Exactly.
So we got Scott and Bacon here. Bacon keeps putting up points. He's got the most amount of points scored. He's got the fewest against. He's on the longest win streak. And this is all with Lamar Jackson putting up less than 10 points this past week.
Yeah, his team is scary, honestly. I mean, DJ Moore putting up 46 was a big thing. So can't be understated. If they put up a normal amount, if you put up like, 14 points, all of a sudden he's scoring 97. So it's like, that's a huge, huge boon for sure.
Yeah, that was a big week. It seemed like a blow up week for a lot of people. Scott still puts up a respectable amount. Interesting for me to see how Scott manages his running backs this week with both his Bears guys slated not to play, but he has the 3 KC running backs. So will multiple of them make his roster this week?
I mean, you don't think he's going to start Najee again?
I mean, he's got a flex spot. He's got to throw somebody in.
Yeah, I guess so, huh? Wild. Yeah, so I think Bacon's team looks like the juggernaut right now. It's pretty. What's that? 3 weeks in a row over 140.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's
fantasy
good.
is fickle.
Good. That is true. That's why you play wire to wire, baby. Next matchup, we had Max and E-Bird. Max is in some hurt here.
Yeah, I think an interesting storyline from this matchup is that Evan put up 140 points, but it wasn't from his studs. The bottom half of his roster really showed up in that he got 35 points out of his special teams. He had New York Jets absolutely just having their way with Wussel, and then Call Me Maybe with 15 points. But his first round pick, Derrick Henry, less than 10 points. Devontae Adams, less than 10 points. Or those might be reversed, but those are guys that you're expecting 20 points out of, 15, 20 points. And they both combined for that. So he scored 140, and that wasn't even with his studs. So he has a high potential team. We've all known this. He opted not to play Jonathan Taylor, which thankfully he didn't because Jonathan Taylor Thomas sucked. But I think Evan, if he can get into the playoffs, is super scary and is going to be competing for the weekly high score and the ship overall.
So to be fair, though, he also benched Zach Moss,
which I would have as well.
Yeah, so like this is kind of wild. Like, I know no one likes to hear the other league shit, but in my other league, I had like a crazy battle with Tom, my brother-in-law, and he benched Zach Moss because he thought he wasn't going to play. And then he started Javonte Williams, who didn't play. And so he got 0 points in that position. And it was something crazy. It was like 196 to like 168 or something like that. So he would have totally beat me had he put in Zach Moss. But
what rules are you playing with?
Well, I basically have the same team that I have in our league, but it's a super flex, so I have another quarterback. But anyway, the Zach Moss, Jonathan Taylor Thomas thing is going to be haunting the rest of the year because Zach Moss has played himself into a role. Like he's played really well. What does he put up? He's put up 33, 9, 21, 18. Like, how can you just bench that dude?
Yeah, it's crazy, especially after all the hype that he had after getting drafted in the Bills land. Like he was supposed to take over for Devin Singletary and yada yada yada.
So it might be one of those tough things where like Evan might just need to trade like one of them and just be like, I wash my hands of this weird like timeshare-ish thing. Who knows? But it's going to get interesting for him.
Next matchup, we got B-Rad versus Thielen Irked. I-Irked Adam
So
right
good.
now. Sleepy Joe takes the W by about 25 points, highlighted by another big week by Gumry, the true RB1 in Detroit, which, by the way, Jahmyr Gibbs did not practice today again.
Brutal.
Let's see. On the Adam side, of course, we have the injury to Richardson, which is super unfortunate, and Jefferson, which is doubly unfortunate. Yeah, tough week for Adam. I did like the Josh Reynolds play though, with Amon-Ra banged up, and Josh Reynolds has been producing on his own right. Detroit's a little weird now, huh?
It's just a Josh. Yeah, doesn't sound like a wide receiver name, you
know. There's that stew brain again.
Josh, dude.
Yeah, Amon-Ra sounds much like a wide receiver's name.
Dude, some guy on a podcast kept calling him Amon-Ra. Kept calling him Amon-Ra, and I was dying inside. I was like, Amon-Ra, dude. So now I can never like unhear that.
Thielen continues to be an ageless wonder to Stu's chagrin. And that's basically what I can say about this matchup for, I guess, the W.
Brad's team is sneaky good, man. Look at his running backs. He's got Mixon, Montgomery, and then this week he has what's his name? Austin Eckler back.
Yeah, this has been without Eckler for the last
That's what I'm going
days.
up against. Yeah, it's brutal. He has a nice three-headed monster running back situation. I thought I had a good one, but with my injuries, his is probably top of the league right now.
Yeah.
Last matchup, we got myself
Montgomery
versus Sean. I won. This was a mid-off. Speaking of mid, Alexander Mattisus actually got in the end zone at the very end of the game, which was phenomenal because it was a bunch of bullshit before that. My almost dead carcass is being dragged by Tua and Tyreek, so we'll see how far they can take me. Hopefully some of the other dudes get involved. I picked up Curtis Samuel on Thursday and was going to tinker him in for Michael Thomas. And instead, I went with Dotson because I was like, it's the Bears. They're terrible. Dotson's got the pedigree. Let's not overthink this. And then Samuel outscored Dotson by over 10 points. And that's the kind of management decisions I'm making this year.
Not championship.
I had mentioned this on Thursday night, but the Amazon Prime Next Gen Stats feed is really cool. And I highly recommend everybody checks it out because they always show it's not quite bird's eye because it's still off center, but they show the zoomed out view of the game. And so you actually can watch receivers downfield and cornerbacks and safeties. And so one thing that I was really enjoying, because we were watching the game and texting back and forth feverishly, and you're just like, Dotson. And I was watching him, and he got highlighted so many times where he was wide open, but Sam Howell just would miss, just didn't see him. But yeah, highly recommend that feed. It's pretty dope. And I was also sad that you picked up Curtis Samuel because he was going to be my backup plan for Amon-Ra except for the fact that he was playing
Monroe.
on Thursday.
Yeah,
so that sucked for me.
Carolina Panther. He's very, very skilled. Very skilled, like out of the backfield. Good hands, good routes. I just don't understand. He's just been on dog shit teams. Like if he was on a legit team, I feel like he would be a star.
Yeah,
I don't think he has star potential, but like,
dude, he's
veteran.
super athletic. He's one of those dudes that is impressive, very impressive when he gets the ball.
He converted to running back for a year and a half.
Yeah, he has special ball skills.
O'Malley made it a little bit interesting, or I guess tiny bit. I mean, I was up by so much at this point, but Monday night, Jacoby Myers was like the preferred target for Jimmy GQ and put up 17 with a touchdown, which is great. And O'Malley did make the savvy Jaleel McLaughlin acquisition last week. He got in the end zone, scored over 16. So that was a good 1 week play. I mean, he obviously the rest of his team kind of let him down, but those two moves were thumbs up.
Mm-hmm. And he won the Chuba versus Miles Panthers suck off.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Miles has found his way to the bench. And that's where he's gonna remain. Dude, I don't know if you guys read this blurb after I sent it, but it was like literally the first word is yikes. So we'll leave it at that. All right, that's your week 5 recap. That took forever, and that's probably why we don't do it anymore. But the people want what the people want. We're now into the listener questions, and the first one is from Max, which is WTF is that trade? I think that's for Weaver to answer. So I guess I will pose to you, Weaver. How would you like this to go? Would you like to do your spiel and then we give our commentary, or should we give our commentary and then you do your spiel?
I have posted notes that I would like to read
Multiple
out here.
Notes.
Yeah, and we have been texting about it, but I didn't want to spoil it. So this is all new to Colin as well.
Do we review the history of this trade? So a trade was
made. Of this trade. I traded Kyron Williams for Jalen Hurts heading into week 5.
7 days ago. Or maybe 9 days ago.
Yeah. Week happens. Anthony Richardson, Adam's backup quarterback, gets injured.
The number 2 scoring quarterback on average by game.
Yes, that was part of our trade discussions for sure. Anyways, after waivers clear this week, a trade occurs between me and Adam where we reverse that trade, except for Adam also includes Geno Smith for $18 of fab. All right, and this is what I have to say about this. The narrative has oddly enough shifted through the course of this journey, right? In the beginning, what the fuck was this trade? There was a handful of league members that thought this trade was imbalanced one way or another. Doesn't matter.
The initial trade, right?
The initial trade. Yeah. And then on Sunday, all of a sudden, I started hearing from certain folks like, why did you make that trade? Like, Joe Burrow is so good. And now there's this quarterback controversy on your roster, yada, 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 right? So now all of a sudden it went from like, you like rip somebody off to now like that trade makes no sense for you. Okay. So that's the narrative going into this trade.
You can do both of those things, you know?
Yes. Anyways, I just don't like how the narrative kind of has shifted, and then we reverse the trade, and now all of a sudden, like, what is going on with that? Like, why would you possibly turn it back when all of a sudden there was this quarterback controversy, right? So I just like that changing narrative.
Who reached out to who?
I reached out to him, and I'll get to that in a moment. But one thing that was brought up when that original trade was made was by you, Colin, about my history of trades. And the last time I made a trade for a quarterback, their backup immediately got hurt. And so now, like, even though you might have said it in jest, joking around, being critical of the trade, that's in your mind when it comes to trading with me specifically, right? So I don't like that like, association of trades backfiring. I don't think it's good for the league. I think that now people are going to be more apprehensive to make trades. And I think that is also, oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to, for that one, it wasn't specific to like, don't trade with Weaver, your quarterback's gonna get injured. I was just saying that it's a similar situation where one person has like two stud quarterbacks, so they feel they have a surplus of resources and can trade it. And I was just commenting that the last time it backfired. It was more like, this is historically has a precedent, not that the injury's gonna happen. It's just like, we've seen this before, and this is how it played out in the past.
Yeah, totally. And so you made that acknowledgement. I don't know how many people saw it, remembered it, probably only me, right? But now here's another situation where that is the truth. And now all of a sudden, I think that becomes more of a talking point. And I think that somebody making a trade and having it immediately backfire is just bad for the league. It's bad for trade talks in general because it adds more fear and less willingness to make trades. And it's something that I've really enjoyed the past couple of years. Because I don't know if you all remember, like the first 10 years of our league, there were like so few trades. And I think we've really gotten to a good point now. And then, yeah, like last year, again, I hate highlighting this, but Pebbles did a bunch of trades and they all backfired on him, right? So like, that's just frustrating to me. This is part of my context of like, I've been a part of 2 trades now that were pretty significant. 3 Kyler Murray trade, yeah, and 2 with Pebbles last year, and now this one with Adam. So I have this context of trading with somebody and then having it backfire immediately for them. And then last but not least, like, I don't want to win in like this brutal mentality. I'm not trying to like leave a trail of bodies behind me. Like, I personally feel a sense of like honor in that we were both like terrified of this trade. It immediately blew up in Adam's face. And with Joe Burrow being awesome, I don't think that like it was okay for me to trade him back because I don't want Adam's season to be like completely ruined by our trade that like many people viewed as like extraneous for me. So then the last point is like, and I'm glad you're here, Stu, because you've been at first you were on board with our trade and then you are hypercritical of the trade back.
For sure.
And I don't think this is setting precedent for all future trades. Like there's going to be trade back clauses, but I just think that people are going to be more willing to trade with me and the way I handled this situation versus like you and Colin's trade with Laporta and how you've just been like showcasing it and lambasting like how you won that trade and just like kind of shoving it in his face and letting us know like, hey, if I ever do want to trade, like I'm going to let you know. And I think people are going to be more willing to negotiate with me than you moving forward. So big spiel, 2 posted. I've clearly thought about this a lot. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So first of all, with regards to me lambasting Colin, we've definitely been talking about it for a while. So he and I, and he's been bringing it up to me more than I've been bringing it up to him. I think Colin can verify this. I think, first of all, you don't make a trade because you think that there's going to be hearts and flowers for you there. You make a trade because you think your team is getting better. So if someone's making a trade with me, it's not because they're worried about me gloating or winning the trade or quote losing the trade. They're going to trade because they think that they're getting better. And that's why you should make a trade. There shouldn't have any ulterior motives. So I guess with your situation, my big question was, would you qualify it as like a spirit of the game, like spirit call, where you're like, oh, your guy got injured, so therefore I'm going to bail you out?
I guess I would, because it's not how I want to win. And in my eyes, like I had to drop Geno Smith to make an addition in that week. And so I was just like, hey, like in my mind, we are equal because you are now spending your fab budget to basically get Jalen Hurts back. And I'm
Yeah.
okay acting as if this never happened. But he did take the L for $18 of fab, which
Yeah.
who knows if that'll come into play.
Another question I had is, we touched on it a little bit earlier. Why didn't you trade Joe Burrow? Did you try to trade Joe Burrow, or how did that go down?
In my mind, the only person that would have wanted Joe Burrow was either Max, who traded him to me, or O'Malley. And O'Malley was already in a pain point because he's starting Trevor Lawrence. And so at the time, Joe Burrow had zero value, right? So even if I did try to trade him, it was going to be like so when I traded for Jalen Hurts, it was kind of an insurance policy for me. Like, what if Joe Burrow's calf injury is serious and he never comes back, right? Like, that was it. But then he showed up. And so then all of a sudden I feel confident. So also this trade back is with the benefit of that performance, right? Like, if Joe Burrow has a shitty game, I'm not. And also, I proposed it to Adam.
Yeah, I guess I don't want to get too like, I'm not trying to like grill you or anything. I'm just wondering, like, I guess all I really needed to know is you felt like it was like the right thing to do ethically or morally, like buying lemon kind of thing. And if that's the case, then that's your strategy. And I wouldn't try to win the league with that strategy, but you said you didn't want to win the league with that kind of like hard-nosed mentality. So that's, your own personal viewpoint. So I don't have anything against that at all. My whole thing was, I didn't think it was a winning move for you. That was my whole thing. I thought it was a nice guy move, but it's kind of like in Tin Cup, where he doesn't want to take the drop. He wants to like win his way. And then he ends up like hitting it into the water like 8 times and then loses the Open. Like, I thought it was kind of like that move where you're like, you did it your way, but you're probably not going to win the Open. That's why I was like flabbergasted. I was like, why wouldn't you just take the drop? That was like kind of my mindset on the trade. So yeah, I talked to Adam a little bit about it too. So he and I are all good and everything's good. But I just wanted to kind of get the inside of it. And I guess knowing that it was kind of like I said, like almost like a spirit call changes the perspective a little bit. Because if I were you, I would have tried to keep the more sure thing quarterback, the Jalen Hurts, and try to trade Joe Burrow back and be like, look, I'll throw you. Especially after Williams had a down week too, right? Didn't he have a down week? I'm pretty sure he did. So yeah. It's like, and Jalen Hurts blew up. So you like really did him a huge solid, in my opinion, giving it back. I think Pebble said that Adam won the trade, but I thought Adam did win the trade. Sorry, he said you won the trade, and I kind of agreed or disagreed with him because I thought that it was, like I said, kind of a Control Alt Delete Control Z because of the injuries, Anyway, maybe I'm rambling. I don't know. That edible's starting to kick in.
No, it's good. I know. We probably should have waited till halfway through. I appreciate your opinion, and one thing that I know I'm jumping in, and Colin, I'd love to hear your opinion too, but one thing that I would love to see out of the league just in general is like reduced reactions to these trades. Because so far, like, I don't know, anytime a trade is made, part of the discussion is going to be like, how do you think the league's going to react to this? And
I literally never think about that. If that is any,
I've just come up in 3 of my trade negotiations.
Yeah.
And maybe because I'm out here trying to wheel and deal with my embarrassment of running back riches.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm a wheeler and a dealer. I'm trying to think about like what I can do to win the league. Like, that's it. I'm trying to win this league. I'm trying to win this money. Got mouths to feed over here.
Yeah, totally. Same. I want my name on that trophy. It's not there. And this is the best chance I've ever had of it.
I know.
So.
And then you traded back Jalen Hurts. You had Jalen Hurts. Oh my God. Anyway, I want to hear Colin's reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it's a bad move by you, Weaver. I think you're in a worse position today than you were over the weekend, right? So, like, do you want your name on the trophy? it also doesn't just affect you and Adam, it affects everyone. Like I play Adam in like week 10 or 12. Now I got to play Jalen Hurts instead of some bullshit he would pick up on the waiver wire. You know,
twice. Yeah.
It's like it's not just you and him, it's everyone. You're affecting everyone's chances of winning. And there's risk in a trade. You make a trade like and I understand it's not the same thing, but I don't expect to get Laporta back from Stu. I gave it up. There it goes. If Mark Andrews got injured the day afterwards and I got no tight end, I'm not going to go back to Stu and be like, please give me back Laporta. I wouldn't even expect that. So I don't know. It seems if I'm Adam, I'm fucking stoked because now my season is not over. Sometimes you get fucked. How many years has Pebbles had teams where like everyone's injured and he gets the Sacco or last? It just happens.
Dearth of talent. Yeah.
It's fantasy football. It's like it's random as shit. And your trades are random as shit too. And so I don't know. I feel like there's a part of like being like a cutthroat with it. And it is a lot of money. It's like a fuck ton of money now that we're paying $200 per person. Like I funded my entire Universal Studios trip plus like a nice ass steak dinner at Fuku de Chao.
Hell yeah.
With that like money. Thank you everyone for funding that for me. Right. So yeah, it's like, I don't know. We're all friends and we're all trying to win. I don't know if you can like, it just like removes the risk. It's like, why, if I'm Adam or anybody, I guess now, and maybe this is what you want, is like everyone can trade with you because Weaver will like feel bad and he'll like give you your player back if like something doesn't work out. So I don't know. It just, I think that there's like dominoes to what you've done beyond just like your morals, basically.
Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, Butterfly's Wings. What was that movie that Ashton Kutcher was in?
The Butterfly Effect.
Butterfly Effect, yeah.
With Amy Smart. That movie is crazy.
Yeah, that movie slaps. I think when we're talking about trying to tamper the lashback in like group me dialogue, trades are the most spicy, like salacious things that happen in our league almost, right? Like, why would we not talk about them? Of course we are. So I think it's a little, I think it's a little unrealistic to be like, I wish people wouldn't like talk about who won trades or who lost trades. Like that's part of that's the nature of the beast, you know?
Yeah. The media will talk about it. And Colin, to your point, like, I don't think anybody should expect a trade back after an injury. That's not my goal. Like, I don't think anybody should expect that out of me in the future. And Adam didn't ask or demand it. Like, I proposed it. Just, I guess, yeah, spirit foul call is the best way to describe it, right? Like, who knows? Maybe Burrow goes on a tear and Jalen Hurts doesn't, you know, right? Like, that's the best part about fantasy too.
Maybe Burrow gets injured because of his calf, and now you got Geno on a worse team, and
trade,
and now you don't win, and your name doesn't get on the trophy because you had Hurts.
Then I'll be back to where I was with the draft, and I'll make decisions accordingly, right? Like,
I'll say this: if you win with this goodwill, that would be a just and true and honest championship performance for sure.
Truly. Yeah. That's the way I want to win. Like, I don't know. It's all good. At the end of the day, I'm happy with it, and Adam's obviously happy with it. And so that's what should matter. Like, we're all trying to win this league. That's every trade. Everybody's doing shit for themselves, you know? Like,
yeah, I'm in a lot of trade talks right now, and it's like, it's one of those things where you're just like, if I do this, am I going to fuck my team up completely? Or if that's more what I'm thinking about. It's like, you only have so many windows in this league. So it's tough to like, be like, I'm going to trade away, a top guy just because. Anyway, we don't need to harp on it anymore. We've already gone, like an hour and a half here.
I have another listener question for us.
Okay.
I think we can do that one. We can get our picks and we can get out of here.
All right. That sounds good to me.
This comes from Anon. They wanted to remain anonymous.
QAnon. Holy shit.
Not QAnon.
QAnon hit us up.
Yeah, they didn't. They also had some opinions about this trade.
Here's the deep state, dude.
They're like, it's inexplicable. That has to be the deep state. Oh man, are they gonna hear us now because you've said it on this publicly displayed video? What's gonna happen with that? Anyway,
we gotta unlist everything.
I'm down for that. Anonymous mailbag. How often is too often when it comes to changing your team name? We've had a lot of team name changes, so the question
we've
is
had this question before. We've definitely had this question before, 100%.
My answer is once per week is enough. That's good. If you are changing your team name multiple times per week, that's too much.
Too much.
Yep.
I like the.
Oh yeah, please.
Sorry. I like the topical weekly name change if it's good. Like what we've talked about in the past when we got this question is the quality of the team name is what really truly matters. So if you're just changing your name willy-nilly and it sucks every time, I feel like that's lame. Like just pick your lame name and stick with it at that point. But in the case of like my team name, for example, his wizard staff HN into my butt is my team name, right?
That's because what your team name is?
Yeah.
It's so long. I didn't know.
Well, that's why literally dot.
Dude, yeah, you have the dot. And no one, I didn't know it had to do with your butt. I was just
I was when we were doing the whole dialogue about like Weaver reading the romance novel. I put a quote like of a fake romance novel and put his wizard staff aching into my butt, and it got a lot of likes. So I thought I would double down.
It got a lot of likes.
So it's like a weekly topical thing. Like Weaver had to read a fantasy romance novel, so I changed my name to a fantasy romance novel name. You know, like that's kind of like what I was doing. So in my opinion, maybe you don't think it's a good name. I thought it was a good name. So if you have a good like topical name change, like Pebbles does it, like I'm not happy. I'm kind of happy. Like kind of that kind of stuff. I think it's fun. But when you just change your name with random lame shit all the time, like Dr. Tua and Mr. Hill. No, I'm not just kidding, dude. I'm just kidding, Colin. I see your face.
Anon says that it's a bit annoying to constantly not know what team has what players or owner.
That's fair.
Using every name you can think of for a short time depletes the options for everyone in subsequent years. That's no fun. Except, of course, Dr. Tua and Mr. Hill, which is a phenomenal name. Thank you, Anon.
Wow. So, yeah, change it if it's good. That's what I have to say. Change it if it's good.
What do you guys think? Throw it in the group me.
Yeah, let's get some listener engagement.
Get some more questions.
We need a lot more engagement in our channel, dude. We got nothing.
All right, let's get some picks going, huh?
Except about the trade. I don't want to hear any more about that.
We got I want to hear about that too. But I don't think we've talked about the domino effect about everybody else now is going to also be impacted by this when they play Adam. But in any case, we got week 6 picks to make because we have a football game in 15 minutes.
Oh my God.
How about I'm having maybe a little fun versus Thielen Irked. Jalen Hurts ownership. What's up?
Yeah. With the shiny new quarterback, I'm going with Thielen Irked.
Let's see. He's a Bush dog right now.
Yeah, trying to check this out. I think I'm going to take Pebbles on this one.
Yeah, I'm also taking Pebbles. I mean, he's got Herbert again. Well, Dallas is a good defense, but Herbert's going to ball. Olave is going to play. New Orleans defense against Houston could be good. Marquise Brown keeps scoring touchdowns. He's got Samaj in the lineup for tonight. That's kind of strange with those 3 running backs. But I don't know. Adam's team, it looks a little banged up. I mean, Josh Reynolds now is going to be impacted by Amon-Ra coming back in with Williams now playing for them. Stevenson is on a terrible offense in New England all of a sudden. Swift's got to play against the Jets, and they're a good defense. Yeah, I feel like some matchups are not favorable for Adam's team. Same with Hurts.
the Panthers are going against Miami, and everyone's like, "Oh, Thielen's going to get a ton of balls because they're going to be behind." It's like they might be behind so much that they don't even play, like straight up. Like I
I'm
would
worried
not
about
be
that.
shocked if the
I'm
Panthers
very
are
worried
down
about that.
like 35-7 in the third quarter and they just bench everybody. I mean, Bryce Young is fucking not good, dude. Like,
Yeah, you should have taken Stroud.
oh, it's such a bummer. Anyway, we don't need to talk about Panther football.
I took Pebbles. Stu took Pebbles. Weaver takes Adam with the shiny quarterback. Next matchup, we got Mo Money More Problems. Bakeroo versus Too Fast Too Furious. 2-2-2. What do you guys think?
Obviously, I'm going with Bacon here. His team is just an immovable object, an unstoppable force. It's until proven.
Is it an immovable object or an
everything.
unstoppable force? So you have to be one or the other.
Both. It's all mass equals energy plus size. You know, stew math. Hashtag stew math.
What is happening over there?
I think that Bacon's team, I'm gonna pick him to win until he proves otherwise. His team is absolutely stampeding the league right now. I'm just gonna pick him every time.
What do you think, Weave?
I am picking Stu for the same reason, but this is also my upset of the week.
You mean Bacon?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know what I said. I'm picking Bacon.
I'm on his mind.
Sorry, yeah, picking Bacon, but I'm also highlighting this matchup for the upset alert for the week because I think that it's, yeah, I think it's a possibility, a strong possibility.
Interesting.
Bacon's got Mostert going against the Panthers in that game that's going to be a blowout. Bacon has San Francisco defense against the Browns and a second string quarterback.
Oh, is Deshaun still not playing? Brutal.
We got Josh Jacobs against New England, and New England's looking terrible. Kelsey tonight.
Did all these things? No, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Anyway, I think Bacon set up pretty well, whereas O'Malley just put up sub 100 points last week, and he's got a bunch of banged up dudes.
Yeah, sub 100 on a apocalypse week.
Yeah, Higgins might not play. The Santa Barbara Higgins ranch, he might be on the bench, so that could definitely hurt his ability. Yeah, I'm definitely going with Bacon here. I think it's O'Malley has a tough few weeks ahead of him. For sure.
I think this could be a CD Lamb blow-up game, though. There's been a little bit of squeaky wheel a la Jamar Chase going on with him, and they're playing against the Clippers, and they don't have a defense. So, next matchup, we got his Wizards staff, Aiken int ... versus Sleepy Joe. Is it Sleepy Joe's Wizard staff? That's Aiken into your butt.
I am unfortunately picking against myself for the first time all year. I'm very banged up. 2 of my receivers are on bye. My running back, Achan, is on IR for 4 weeks.
You see Laporta didn't practice today?
I did not, but that is something that I'm seeing right now. I'm going to call that maintenance. And yeah, I think I'm running into a buzzsaw here. He has Patrick Mahomes against Denver. Like he has so he has Montgomery. I already talked about his 3-headed monster running back situation. His wide receivers are the one spot where I might be able to sneak in on him, but my wide receivers are all on bye. So I have to start Rondale Moore, who I think might be getting backfield touches in Arizona. So I'm like counting on maybe like 11 touches for this guy. I don't know. Not running back pure touches, maybe a few catches too, but I just think I'm a little outmatched this week. So I'm picking Brad.
Are you you're sticking with the 85 Bears against the Niners who just put up 40 points on the Cowboys?
Well, this kind of goes into like you look at what's on the waiver wire. It's not punting because I was hopeful that Deshaun was going to play, and then I thought it could be a real slog with the weather. Thought it might be one of those like 10-3 kind of games. But if Deshaun doesn't play, then I might need to pick up a defense for sure. But how many more points are they going to really truly get? Like 7 more points for me, and I just think I might get blown out this week, to be honest.
That'd be crazy after putting up 200.
Yeah, I think I might get blown out.
What do you think, Weave?
I also am choosing Sleepy Joe for many of the reasons that Stu outlined. But most importantly, Gumry.
Yeah,
Gumry,
dude.
I would have loved to see a Gumry versus Gibbs matchup. That would have been fun for the whole family.
If Gibbs is healthy, I'll put him in for sure. I don't want to start two tight ends, that's for sure. But
I'm taking Brad too.
Laporta doesn't play, I've got a tight end one right there. So.
You got Logan Thomas.
Yeah.
Must CMC TD, which is a new name for Bill. By the way, I wish it was TDs because then it would have been like must see them titties. Now it's just TD. So Bill, maybe add that S on the end. Then that could be.
Wow. Colin can't come up with a good team name, but he definitely knows.
Don't be hating on my team name. You just said like when I changed it that you liked it.
No, that's true. I was thinking about old school Colin when I made that comment, but that is an incredible edit to a team name. You enhanced his name significantly.
Good. Anyway, he's taking on Scott. And what do you guys think?
I have.
Sorry, you go ahead.
No, you go for it.
I think that his what was it last week where Brown and Diggs just went nuclear, or was that the week?
That was 2 weeks ago. But Diggs.
Yeah, he's got a great wide receiver core. Boyd has more opportunity if Higgins doesn't play. But my problem with Scott's roster right now is just his running backs are a little sus, and I don't know what he's going to do with those two positions. Najee Harris doesn't have a game. Herbert's doubtful. They should just mark him out already. He already has 0 points, but for some reason they're not giving him a no. Pretty annoying. So he's going to have to play maybe. I mean, this is probably if you had Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I would probably play him because I think Isaiah Pacheco could score an early touchdown, and then they're blowing out Denver, and then they just hand it to Clyde Edwards-Helaire the whole game. You know,
yep.
That's what I would do if I were him, but I still don't think it's going to be enough. I like Bill's team.
Me too. I'm also taking Bill. He's got touchdown Gabe, who just keeps scoring. He got that stackle against going to the Giants, and their Giants can't play. Got McCaffrey and then TDs. He's got the waiver wire darling Josh Downs. Another Josh. Stu hates it, but that's what his name is.
Not a wide receiver name, you know?
And he also has the Kansas City defense against Denver. So that's going for him. Yeah, Scott's got some boom potential. His own stackles in there. But yeah, running backs are pretty hurt right now. And I'm kind of doubtful that he'll swap somebody in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of sketchy, huh? Oh, well, he'll find someone. Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, next matchup, we got No, we don't have Tua Black. Wow, look at that. You guys got me all discombobulated. We got Dr. Tua and Mr. Hill. Again,
you discombobulated yourself.
Fat Stackford. I know. I was just like, we got to get the fuck out of here. This game's starting. I'm picking myself. I'm taking the stackle. We finally had a double stackle hit last week with Waddle and Hill. They're playing the Panthers. I am afraid of the blowout potential here. Super afraid because the Dolphins are like literally over half my team in points scoring. We got mid Susters on the bench though, so automatically my team is winning. And we actually have an ace in the hole with Foreman for the Bears. He's gonna be the starter. Yeah, those other guys can play. Actually, there's 3 guys who can't play. He's literally the only running back they have left. So he's going to be in this lineup. And on Evan's side, much like we talked about, the bottom half of his roster were the ones who produced in this last week. And that's not sustainable. I think Devonta Adams is banged up. And I think Bill Belichick is going to eliminate him as he always takes away the number 1 option. A little worried about the Rams stack against the Cardinals, but I think the Dolphins will find a way.
I'm taking the Fat Stackford. Yeah, it's happening. I think his team, I mean, I think that your team bet so heavily on the Dolphins in that matchup, it's going to backfire this week. Evan's taking the W. Cooper Cup Kingdom has returned. And I do love this new team name. It's a good one.
Fat Stackford.
Yeah, I really like it.
I would like to point out, I'm pretty sure I had someone might dispute this, but I'm pretty sure I came up with Fat Assford. I'm pretty sure that was one of my early team names.
You say
Did you TM it?
I don't think I TM'd it, but maybe someone can verify if I'm telling the truth. I thought I coined it, Fat Assford.
Who are you taking in this matchup?
I'm taking Fat Assford in this matchup.
What the hell?
I'm not taking Tua Tagovailoa or Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle against my Panthers because I think they're just going to run all over them. I don't think that they're going to need to pass that much. I think that Cup coming back, he really is going to play. I mean, he's going to play Zach Moss or Jonathan Taylor. I hope anyway. I don't know why he might need to trade one of those. He's got too many running backs right now.
Sounds like Stu's in the market for an indie running back.
Yeah, what the heck? No. So I'm just going with him. I think his running backs are really good. He's got Henry, Brian Robinson, and Breece Hall is going to come down to earth here for sure.
Hell yeah.
And he's got IU, Cup, and Adams. Like, his team is pretty fucking stacked. He should be trying to get fucking Jalen Hurts right now, and his team would be super stacked as well. I think Evan is going to be one of those teams where it's like Usain Bolt. If you get it's like Rich Eisen, when he's like running the 40 or whatever, and then he
I love Rich Eisen.
And then they put him simulcast with all the athletes running the 40, and he gets the head start, and then the guys dust him or whatever. This could be Evan this year. We might be all the fat Rich Eisens running, and then
he's not fat. He's old.
Comes and dusts us at the very end. So
his name is not on this trophy yet.
No.
Jeez.
Last matchup, we got Max and we got Weaver. He's the trade commander. He's the trade backsies commander. Am I right? All right, that was the last one I do. Okay, in this one, I'm taking the trade backsies commander. I did it again. We got Joe Burrow, who is back to his old Joe self. We get Keenan back. That'll be a barn burner on Monday night. And we got Amon-Ra back too, who is a target machine. Also the savvy defensive pick. I was debating between picking up the Raiders or the Jags myself. Couldn't with my heart pick up those Raiders. I feel like it's kind of a classic, Raiders get on a roll and then they get smushed situation brewing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm taking Weave. On the other side, Max picked up Prescott because the LAC has no defense, so that's going to be a sneaky play. Barkley's back for him against Buffalo, though. That's going to be a rough one. Jordan Addison without Justin Jefferson, also a player to watch.
All right, I'm picking the trade backsies commander too. I think his team is better. His team is just better. Max is in a little bit of a hellhole right now. He needs to claw his way out. He has 3 guys questionable. 2 of them are severely questionable. I think he could be in trouble.
I could really use that. I need a get right game after getting that wizard staff in my butthole.
The H in wizard staff.
Yeah, so I'm choosing myself. I think that I have the better team, and I hope that is the truth on Monday night. I hope that it's the truth on Sunday evening, so that I don't even have to stress about Monday night. But this has Monday Night Miracle written all over it.
Yeah, you got a few guys going on Monday. What, you have 2, and Max has 1.
Prescott versus Keenan.
And Pollard.
Oh, and Pollard. Oh, shoot.
So that'll be, are the Cowboys up or down? Who's getting the work? Is
Yeah.
he slanging it or is he running it?
Yeah, it's a scary one. We shall see. Is that it?
Great content,
do it?
guys. I think we went for An hour and 45 minutes or something.
Hopefully people enjoy it.
Jesus.
Hopefully people enjoy it.
It's
We'll
definitely
see.
at least one segment that people will enjoy. If not people, then their wives that are listening in.
Oh yeah, definitely gonna show Chelsea that.
Don't listen at work. You might pop a boner. Might pop a boner.
Oh man, that's fun. All right. Good luck, everybody, except for Max.
Bye.